We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick, and we're pleased to welcome in one of the best writers covering the Saints. He is Luke Johnson of The Advocate. Used to be the Times-Picayune before The Advocate absorbed everything, and now Luke Johnson joins us. Luke, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Patrick. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you're quite welcome. Hey, before we get into the Saints stuff, I actually have a completely non-sports question for you.
Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Okay, well, you're a Marine, you're a vet, so what I want to know is, how do we properly thank a veteran when we see them? Because, you always say, thanks for your service, that kind of thing, but that sometimes feels sort of trite. You know what I mean? And I know that I've seen some things where some veterans say, hey, don't thank me for my service. Like, what do we say, or how should we approach if we see someone either that's in fatigues, or someone that we know is a vet? How do we approach them to properly thank them for their service and make sure they understand that, you and they did something that the rest of us definitely could not have?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I've never actually thought about like something that would be more, I don't know if appropriate is the right word, but something that it doesn't come off as cliche.
Right, right.
That's the thing. It's when people say thank you for your service to me, I understand that they mean it. But at the same time, it's like I volunteered for it. Like it's something I wanted to do.
Right.
And I don't necessarily feel the need to be thanked for it. It's a really interesting thing that I've thought a lot about as a veteran, and I haven't really come to like a good conclusion. I will say that the stuff that really sticks out to me, and this is obviously not for everybody, and it's not for every situation, but I've gone and like sat down for dinner at a place and like had somebody like pick up my bill or pay for a coffee or something like that, and that's the sort of stuff that like. It's like, okay, that was really nice. Like they didn't even introduce themselves, and it's just, it's nice to have that happen every now and then where it's like, somebody's showing their gratitude without, I don't know,
without needing to plot
a show out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Luke, because Rogers can tell you, we're in an Air Force town in Shreveport-Bossier. And I do that, and I don't ever, I even specifically tell the waiter or waitress, hey, don't tell them who did it. I don't want them to know. I just want them to know they're appreciated. And so I'll pick up, it may be just some wings at the local wing place. It's not going to be anything, a massive grand gesture. But I think, to me, that seems more appropriate to not want to receive the credit for thanking you. You know what I mean? I guess that's
this is it's a really hard thing to articulate because I do appreciate it when people say how much they appreciate it, but at the same time it's like I never really know how to react to it, and like we've kind of said, it's just it's become such a thing to say to somebody,
right?
Thank you for your service. That it just even though the intentions are good and right. It doesn't always feel like authentic.
Right. It's like saying bless you when someone sneezes. It's almost an automatic thing to say where it sort of loses its meaning after a while.
Yeah. But again, it is appreciated.
Yeah. Well, and look, I can definitely tell you that everyone who says it definitely means it, because again, y'all look, whether you volunteered for it or not, y'all did something that quite frankly, most of us could not have done. I mean, I would not have been able to go in and participate in a military endeavor. Like I couldn't do it. So to have you out there doing it, knowing that you're the ones out there protecting our freedoms, like that's a big deal to the rest of us, knowing that it's something that we literally could not do.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know why Rogers put the round of applause in there. Come on, Hambone. Oh, that's okay. That's Rogers thanking you. All right, Hambone's giving you the round of applause. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Hambo.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, let's talk about the Saints a little bit. And this has been another kind of bizarre season for New Orleans, in that Sean Payton continues to win no matter what quarterback he throws in there. I really think he could put Hambone in there at quarterback, at all 5, 6 of him, and still have success somehow. Do we maybe not appreciate just how good a quarterback guru, if you will, that Sean Payton is?
I think there's definitely some elements to that, but at the same time, he is working with a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Has worked with him for 15 years now, and I think their personnel department has done just a really good job of identifying guys who work in the system, and guys who have talent that maybe other people are overlooking or undervaluing. It's how they got Teddy Bridgewater stick here for 2 years, and Taysom Hill, I think, is showing why Sean Payton had faith in him. I don't think he could just, not to throw any shade at Rodgers here. I don't think he could run him out there and have success. I don't think he could do it with Garrett Grayson from a couple of years ago.
Sure.
There's just they do a really good job of identifying guys who are going to be able to pick up this complex offense that they run and all that goes in with it, and then execute it on the field. I think there's a really good marriage between the front office and the coaching staff. But that all being said, I don't think you're going to find very many people in the NFL who can do a better job of preparing guys to go out there and have success than Sean Payton does. I don't know if Drew Brees ends up setting all these career records without playing Sean Payton's offense.
Well, I think there's no doubt about that. Also, just so you know, if Rodgers ran out there in the wild ham-bone offense, he would run for probably 200-300 yards a game, because that's what he did at Friendship Academy, which was clearly one of the biggest and most prosperous schools in all of the Louisiana High School Athletic Association. Luke, this Taysom Hill, I kept saying to people who we got a lot of, he's Tim Tebow, based on what he's done before, there's no reason to believe he can be an NFL, a quality NFL passer, that kind of thing. But we didn't have any real film on him. He was not running the offense. Has he surprised you, or do you think he's surprised the kind of the NFL world at large with how good he's been as a passer in the 2 games where he's actually been allowed to run the offense?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different ways of looking at that. Like I do think that he has exceeded expectations. Even those of us who thought some of the opinions that were being expressed about Taysom Hill were a little bit outrageous, considering that nobody had seen him do anything except for Sean Payton, except for the guy trusting him to run the offense.
Right.
Like he's the one who sees it on a day in, day out basis. He sees it in practice, like actually him playing quarterback, and nobody else has seen that outside of preseason games, which are essentially worthless. So I don't think it was right for people to just marginalize him out of the gate because he's being asked to do something that he hasn't done before. And I thought it was ridiculous at the time that people were saying what they were saying about him, which was that he's a gimmick gadget player or whatever, who's clearly not capable of running an offense because when they put him in there, they run designed runs, and he can't read a defense. It's like, well, you've never seen him try. That said, I don't think I was expecting him to come out and complete 80% of his passes in his first game, or to go 11 of 13 on third down like he did against the Falcons the other week.
Right.
I think there's still some stuff with him that you'll find with a lot of young quarterbacks where he's not seeing everything. You're watching the game and you see guys flash open right in front of him that he doesn't see. But yeah, that's stuff you pick up with experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that he's doing right now, I think, is really impressive. He's shown he has absolutely an NFL caliber arm. That 3rd and 17 throw that he converted to Mike Thomas.
Yes.
It was a deep sideline throw, and NFL defensive backs cover 10 yards like faster than you can snap your fingers. And to put that right on the money and beat the defensive back with that throw, that's a big time throw. And I think he has what they're looking for and what they want. And there's going to be, I'm sure there are going to be some times whenever he gets his full-time opportunity that he's going to struggle because teams are going to get more and more looks at him and try to confuse him with stuff that he hasn't seen before. But he has proven, I think, beyond a doubt, that he's earned his chance to try to do it.
So definitely so far. Talking to Luke Johnson from The Advocate. By the way, you can follow him at by Luke Johnson, BY Luke Johnson. Speaking of Taysom Hill, you went to Idaho for some reason, and not even Boise, like or Coeur d'Alene for like the slopes or anything. You went to Pocatello to learn about Taysom Hill. What did you find out while you were there?
Yeah. It's always been really fascinating for me whenever a guy like Taysom Hill just emerges from this kind of small town, middle of nowhere sort of thing, because it's like my story. I grew up in small towns. Like my hometown is like a tenth the size of Pocatello, Idaho, which has like 60,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there to find out what sort of community produces a guy like Taysom Hill and what the relationship is to him now. The Saints were playing in Denver that week. It was a 9-hour drive from Denver, which is, it's not that far when you're driving through some really ridiculously awesome scenery.
Yeah.
So I went out there and I spent a couple days out there and talked to as many people as I possibly could who, both knew Taysom Hill and just knew of Taysom Hill. And just really got a sense of what it means for a very small community that's 2 hours away from the closest metropolitan area, and just see what that means for that community to see one of their own who was born and raised there starting for an NFL football team. And I think I found a place that was like a badge of honor for his community. It was really important for them to see one of their own make it on the big stage and just have everybody in the country watching that guy.
Yeah, by the way, that story is pinned to the top of Luke's Twitter feed. If you want to read it, it's a really good story. I highly recommend it. There you go, Rogers. Thank you for the Twitter sound effect. At by Luke Johnson, if you want to find him there, BY Luke Johnson. Is it fair that the Saints will have faced a wide receiver playing quarterback for 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season?
I don't think that's fair.
I know. I love to joke about Jalen Hurts, although I think they were going to have him as a running back coming into the NFL. But no, look, the Saints have gotten a little bit lucky in that they faced a wide receiver in Denver, and now they're facing a super inexperienced guy in Philly.
Yeah, but the way Carson Wentz is playing, I don't know if you can make an argument that the experienced guy is better right now, especially when you consider the 2 areas he's really struggled with this year are holding onto the ball too long, taking too many sacks, which the Saints are one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, and turning the ball over.
Yeah.
The Saints lately have been forcing gobs of turnovers. So I don't know if it's really tough for Jalen Hurts to get his first start against what is right now the NFL's number 1 defense. But I don't think it's a bad decision. And one of the really interesting things about it, when I'm looking at this matchup, is the Saints has just basically faced a whole row of pocket passers.
Yeah.
They've not faced one really truly mobile quarterback this year. I mean, you could say Aaron Rodgers is, a guy who will move around in the pocket to find a throwing lane, but nobody's really going to threaten you with their legs. NFL low quarterback rushing attempts against the Saints this year. They've only had 22 rushing attempts by quarterbacks against them. NFL low in rushing yards by quarterbacks against them this year. So they just really haven't been stressed like that. And I think Jalen Hurts presents a kind of a unique challenge that they haven't seen yet. And it's really good that they're going to see it because, by the time the playoffs roll around, they're going to be, potentially facing somebody like Russell Wilson or, they need to, Kyler Murray. They need to get some experience against something like this, just so they have seen it and prepared for it and competed against it. So a really tough task for Jalen Hurts, but I think it's good that the Saints are getting this one this week.
All right, put your Swami hat on for me. Knowing that Green Bay has the tiebreaker over the Saints with a head-to-head win, and knowing that the Chiefs are on the schedule and there's going to be a reduced capacity for that game, which we talked about earlier, 3,000 for that game in the Dome, do you feel like the Saints will find a way to get the number 1 seed and the bye?
Yeah, I do. I think 3 out of the 4 games the Saints have left on their schedule are really winnable games. especially, outside of the Chiefs, probably the best team they'll face is the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing they do really well is the thing the Saints defend probably better than anybody else in the NFL. So I still think asking Green Bay, who's been kind of an inconsistent team this year, to win out is probably a lot. I really like the Saints' chances of finishing 13-3. And obviously this year, the number one seed carries a little bit more weight than usual. Maybe not with like the home field advantage part with the fans in the stands, but you get they're the one team that gets a first round bye.
Yeah.
So it's really important that they get that this year. And I think they obviously have the inside track, and I think it's possible they beat Kansas City too. They're a really, really, really good football team. I think they match up with those guys about as well as anybody else.
Luke, you're the best, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm not going to tell you thank you for your service because I don't want to seem trite. To heck with you with your service and defending our country. Look, next time I see you, I'm going to buy you a coffee or a meal or something. Just we'll do that. But thanks so much, and we look forward to catching up with you down the stretch, man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Luke Johnson. You can follow him at @ByLukeJohnson, writer for The Advocate out of New Orleans.